So really today, if I just get through PSI income, that's enough, okay? PSI, we'll think about ETPs next week, we'll do trading stock next week, and we'll do SBEs next week. So that's what we're going to do. But this week, I want to focus on this thing called personal services income. And let me tell you now, it's a nightmare, okay? It's difficult to understand, but I'm going to make it easy. So, as I said, PSI is quite confusing, and this lecture is basically trying to make it simple as I possibly can. Now, let's have a look at a particular circumstance. I haven't updated these on Moodle. I will very shortly. Okay, so you can watch this again many times. Hopefully the video is going to be great too. Maybe. We'll see. So, in the notes, which I will upload to Moodle, it talks about a doctor. In this particular case, this doctor, he's a surgeon. The operations, they cut people. They get paid big money or little money? Oh, they get paid big money, yeah? Okay, so this particular surgeon, he's earning a wage of $400,000, almost $500,000. Does that make him happy or sad? Why? Because we're in tax law. Therefore, tax will be at? You don't even have to know what the rates are. You know that this guy is always going to be in the top marginal bracket because he's getting paid well, yeah? So he's got a taxation problem, okay. He's got a problem because he's rich, you know, it's a nice problem to have, isn't it, you know. But you will have clients that have this problem where they're paying too much tax. I mean, after all, I like getting paid to help these people, pay me big money. Okay, so he thinks, you know what I'm going to do instead of being an employee is I've got, you know, a wife and a couple of kids. What are we going to do? Yeah, well, we're going to stick something else in between. For the moment, I'm just going to make it a company. Yeah. So you just incorporate your own company. You could stick a trust. You could do it as a partnership. You could do it all sorts of ways. But for the moment, I'm just going to use a company. It's nice and simple. So you start a company and you stick it between you and your employer. And the employer no longer employs you, you know, because you've quit your job. Technically, the company is licensing out the services of this particular doctor. So we're still paying $400,000, but they're in fees, all right? They're a service, right? Which means that they will attract GST and all that business, but who cares? GST is credited and credited back. Right? You'll learn about GST later on. Let's ignore GST. For the moment, it's the same. Even if you include GST, it's the same. Which means companies pay tax at, can't hear you? 30%. Thank you. Companies pay 30% tax. Yep. High tax or low tax? Well, it's lower than 46, isn't it? Yeah? All right, so we've already saved money. Now, the question is, how do we get money out of Family Doctor? Or you just pay wages. 4 lots of wages at $100,000 a year. Now, why would you do this? Why would I bother employing, like really only doctors working, right? This person here he's secretary, yeah, and these 2 kids here, they deliver stuff. I don't know, they're under secretaries or something, who knows, right? But they get $400,000, they get $100,000 each, yeah? This is good or bad, why? This is great. Why is it great?
Because we do the deduction in taxable income.
All right. So I don't even have to do this because it's so bleedingly obvious. But if I have doctor, partner, let's say the children are adults. So we've got 2 adult children. The red represents, I'm just going to make this really simple, okay? So if you're below the blue, that means you're in the tax-free threshold, meaning you pay no tax. This is the low tax threshold. This is the high expensive tax rate, yeah? Very, very simple, because otherwise it gets too complex, yep. So 0, low, high tax. How our doctor would look kind of like, that's you guys. That's me. Actually, I could probably keep going for a doctor, couldn't I? Yeah. But that's our doctor, is that correct? Yeah. Now, the wife, in this particular case, doesn't matter about the gender, right? But I've just, husband, wife, who cares, right? What happens in a lot of professional families? One person gets big money, and the other person has a job. And they go, you know what, why should I go to work? Because if she earns like $50,000 a year, what is it compared to 40 grand a year? It's nothing. All right. And so what ends up happening is that this person goes, well, look, my income is just marginally not very much at all. Therefore, I'm going to basically work part-time, or I'm not going to work. Why should I? It's not efficient for the family. And so what ends up happening is that the other partner starts supporting that other person and does the secretarial stuff and looks after the kids. All right. So that's quite normal. Quite normal to have lots of income here, basically nothing here. All right, effectively nothing here. And so we look at this case where marginal tax rates means that the rich pay more. This guy's paying a lot of tax because they are in the high zone. So what would be better? Split it. That's about right, isn't it? How much tax is family paying now? Very, very, very little. Why? Because we've split the income up, all right? And all I need to do is I need to shift out the income from the guy that's earning all the money to everyone else in the family, and then the family can collectively pay less tax. Does that make sense? So, let's review. Why do we do this? Because we want to spread the income about. Why do we do this? Because everything below that blue line there, that's all tax-free, isn't it? And you get $18,000 per person. It's pretty good, isn't it? Yep. Why do we do this? Because, whoa, wait a minute, you're telling me that even if the taxes to get a little bit higher, that we have a corporate tax rate of 30%, meaning that the highest you could possibly pay, right? So if I keep going more income here, right? Still at the low rates, we can keep going here, can't we? It's a lot more. Yep. And the moment that we start hitting that red band, we can put all the rest into a bucket company. Bucket company. Bucket company pays tax of how much? Does it matter how much I pour into Bucket Co? I can keep going all day long and will only ever pay 30% tax. It's never going to reach that red level. Never ever will it reach that red level. So if I'm sick of trying to, like if I run out of space here and we get any additional income, it just goes straight into Bucket Co. Does that make sense? So what's the highest rate this family can pay? 30%. The only problem is that when you get the money out of Bucket Co, it's got to go back into the people. And you've got yet more income that you've got to deal with. Does this all make sense? How simple is it? All right? If I take you through the rules, it's confusing. But now you've seen this, you're going to read the rules. They're going to make a lot of sense. All right? So, do we like this system? We're accountants, man. Do you like it? It's a great system. Isn't it awesome? This is why you come to school, to learn all these tricks. It's why I came to school, to learn these real-world tricks out there. And do people do it? Of course they do. But the question is, do you think the commissioner is particularly happy with these arrangements? Because they're losing out in tax. Yeah? And do you think that this is in the particular spirit of marginal tax rates? In other words, rich people pay more taxes? All right, let me ask you this. Should poor people pay more taxes? No. Okay, so we don't think that's right. Okay, therefore, the opposite is, should rich people pay more taxes than the poor? And I got no and no. Should poor people pay more? Should rich people pay more? Well, if no and no, what should be?
Should be fair.
Something like this, a flat rate, where it doesn't matter about how much, right? Okay, that's your moral choice. Okay, that's what you personally believe. It's like believing things right or wrong. You know, I should or should not be a virgin before I get married. It's a moral choice. I should or should not lie, cheat, and steal because I believe that in God and I think it's a good thing. Yes or no? That's your moral choice. However, what's the system we work in? The system is rich people pay more. All right? And that's according to the system, that makes sense and it's fair. Right? So therefore, is this system of income splitting and then using bucket companies, is this in the spirit of rich people paying more? No. So what do you think the ATO is going to do about it? That's right. We've got rules to stop this, and one of them is the personal services income regime. It was introduced in 2000, and I want you to notice that even before we had PSI, the government was quite successful at knocking down these schemes.